Let's do it. um, so I'm going to share my screen, looking for my presentation, and because it is recorded, so then we probably will be able to review it later. Okay, so today I would like to share with the audience here and with the people who are going to watch this presentation synchronically. So the experience that I call the theory and practice on global online education and social crisis, a collaborative, transdisciplinary, transnational, bilingual, complex perspective. So a little bit about myself before is my territorial acknowledgement. So I would like to acknowledge respectfully that I'm speaking for the University of New Brunswick, located on the unsurrendered, unceded traditional Wolastoqey land. The lands of Wabanaki people are recognized in a series of peace and friendship treaties to establish an ongoing relationship of peace, friendship, and mutual respect between equal nations. But in the same way, I would like to acknowledge, and this conference is presented at the University of Windsor, located on the Three Fires Confederacy of First Nations, which includes the Ojibwa, Odawa, and Potawatomi, and all indigenous nations in Turtle Island. So a little bit about myself. I am an indigenous scholar from the Muiscans Andes, working in indigenous education in the faculty of the University of New Brunswick in Canada, but also globally. So why I'm interested in this topic and this perspective is because I believe that comparative international learning experiences can help us to know and probably be aware of the inequalities and needs of education in our own backyard by comparing how others are doing in the same area. So then after that, we can create action processes, projects, and move forward to create a better educational systems for indigenous and non-indigenous communities locally and abroad. So then today I'm going to talk about the reconstruction of an international teaching experience between 2005 and 2009 that was a part of the International Council of St. Thomas Aquinas, the ICUSTA course, designed to connect the students and faculty from 9 countries: Argentina, Australia, Canada, Colombia, Chile, France, Philippines, Spain, and United States of America. But of course, I need to do a disclaimer that the views and thoughts and opinions that I'm going to express here belong only to me, to the author, and not necessarily to represent in any way the ICUSTA or in any university members participant. I'm not going to be able to develop all this heavy context, but I would like to give you at first the description of the international experience, because I believe that is a model that could be useful for COVID-19 recovery. I will present my research question and the method that I call self-crafted relationships, which includes the description of the experience, the plugins of experience and social crisis COVID-19, and the perspective of complex dynamic educative systems. I will share the results of the ICUSTA model and the conclusions showing my references. So the context of international experience. So this is the website of the International Council of St. Thomas Aquinas. So the ICUSTA is an association, an organization that involves all universities and centers in the world that share the spirit of St. Thomas Aquinas as a center. One of the actions, one of the initiatives is just to develop a course that is shared with all with university participants, and it is a globalization course. And it's very interesting to mention that it's studying globally on globalization. So it's acting global on globalization. So the course that I was involved in between 2005 2009, 3 courses. It's a globalization effects, a transdisciplinary approach. Those are the countries that will participate, and today the course is active, and some of the countries that are participating in the same course. So my research question is, what are the strengths, requirements, and possibilities of the ICUSTA International Collaborative Teaching course on model of experience reconstructed, but now under the context of recovery from current COVID-19 pandemic? So after more than 15 years of having this experience, I'm saying that perhaps we can learn a lot from this experience, and it's going to inform my future research and my future courses by connecting students around the world. So more than ever, I believe that this model can offer something, some insights. So let's see what is. So very briefly, I'm going to talk about the self-graph of relations. So it's a phenomenological, complex, dynamic approach, of course, but it's based on indigenous and non-indigenous perspectives, what Elder Albert Marshall called two-eyed seeing perspective, the importance of relationality, and also double seeing between local and global perspectives. It's a phenomenological, social-critical approach based on social crisis and social justice in harmony and respect, and making sense of individual or sharing experience. And it creates a continuum between theory, experience, and practice. So then knowledge is developed by practicing knowledge in an action research style. And analysis of psychological and social perspectives is a collaborative construction of reality. Of course, is social constructivism and promotion of social change. This is the critical part. And the methodology includes first the description of the experience, then what Jackson and Mansey call thinking with theory is just reading from theoretical perspectives how this experience can make sense. And then making a social crisis analysis. In this case, is that I select the COVID-19 situation, so the education in a post-COVID-19 world created by the United Nations in 2020, and also is the methodology invite us just to think about complex dynamic systems to understand reality as an evolution process. The self-graph relations is more or less a mirror where we can make sense of the experience and put some theory and content and then reflect on this experience as a machine of possibilities. So then we create open options to change. So let me talk about the experience that I was involved. So Houston University was the center of the network, and you can see then other countries that were related. So each circle would represent one university in a country, and we were sharing the course together. We create the course together, and we connect our own students from all of these countries. Sometimes the course will having 200, 250 students globally. The great idea was that also students will be able and invited to connect with any student in the network. So then it was a circular network, a flat network with a rotative leadership, with collaborative efforts. So at that time, technology was not completely available. So then many countries were just in the middle of creating some kind of online learning platforms. So Houston University was supporting the rest of universities that were not ready online, and in that way we also pass that source for students. So imagine for a student would be a wonderful opportunity to connect with other students that are in similar and different situation and context that are sharing the idea of the course. So in that sense, it was a rich experience for students and for faculty and for universities. So a little bit of complexity. So you can see like the model is full of collaboration, but the model self-replicates inside each university. Each university were autonomous, and the professor was just able to design or adapt or modify the course depending on the needs of their students and courses. So I always refer to this model like a snowflake. See it? It's beautiful photography. The snowflake is it can teach us a lot about network. Then one very important thing was that it was zero additional cost for all. So a student doesn't have to pay anything else. Students have to pay travel or connections, and universities had to invest anything or pay extra additional costs. With the same course that we're sharing a normal course, now it's going to have an synergy and something else to offer. And this is the wonderful thing, because it was based on redistribution of resources, a little creating more equal sharing and possibilities for all. It was a 12-week course, and both modalities and customized by each university. Were faculty were completely flexible to adapt the course. And we promote peer learning students and equal access to learning platforms and connection with the students. And this is very important. It was multidisciplinary. So there were people from different disciplines, but also from different pedagogies and styles and teaching styles and traditions and contexts. So it was delivered in English and in Spanish simultaneously. But the students or faculty doesn't have to learn both English. They only would select the language that they are more comfortable. But also there was a safe place to practice your language skills for second language learners. And those are kind of the topics that we were delivering during the course. And after this cycle of several courses, we published 2 books. One in Spanish, one in English, and the English version was published by France, the Christ of France, and it was called Globalization, Interdisciplinary Perspective, and I was the editor of the Spanish version, Efectos de la Globalización, and a disciplinary approach. The most important thing in this course that probably will be able just to apply today is a gain-gain instructor. Gain instructor. It was not a business model. It was a supportive model, a collaborative model. It was modular, of course. Each faculty or participant was in charge of a model during a week, and we accommodate all universities and all styles and all needs in that course. The course was really flexible, and it was coordinated by the university in Houston, and it was free for students, and faculty were able just to modify any concept of activity or include any activity that they would think that is necessary, depending on what kind of course they were offering at home. So in somehow it is a central course with a lot of variation from each university. Of course, international experience and mobility was not required, but we provide this rich international context. Many of the results are focused on what type of instruments we have for collaboration, and thinking on the COVID-19 United Nations report. So I believe that this model responds very well to the COVID-19 challenge. And then let me explain how. First, strengthening education as a common good. Of course, the course is reducing inequalities by sharing resources at no additional cost. So no one needs to stop participating because of money. Money was not an issue. Second, recognizing interconnectedness. We are safe when everybody is safe. We flourish when everybody flourishes. And that is part of the network. So the network is healthy when everyone has the different possibilities to participate. So it was an interconnected effort. Challenging the educational competitive model. Definitely with no competition inside the model. So it was mainly collaboration in helping at a technological level, helping on a cognitive level, helping with the administrative level. So it was a sharing resource, creating synergies. Expanded the right to education. The UN nations invite us to think about giving more opportunities for all. So making more inclusive education. Recognizing the importance of systems approach. part of the course was based on teachers, group, families, and nations. So we have a global perspective, and we developed something that now is called like a local perspective. I mean, thinking globally, but acting locally, and vice versa. So giving educators opportunities to collaborate is very important to create flexibility and autonomy to teach collaboratively. So then we know that as educators, we need to adapt the model. So magic formulas probably are not responding very well to local needs. So that is why it's important to obtain the experience of educators to customize the course. Offering students ample participation, students are the basic of this course, and protecting the learning space from external influences. Providing free and open source digital technologies and infusing scientific knowledge in curriculum. It's important to create awareness and efforts on global solidarity. So finishing, we have tools required to reconstruct this society. We can reproduce pre-pandemic models with their strengths and limitations, or now taking advantage, we can improve our educative programs toward something that we call planetary relationality. So I'm interested in developing this model. So please, if you have any questions, drop me a line, send me an email. I will be happy to share. Thank you. So thank you very much. This was my presentation. So I don't know if the coordinator is here, but making sure I'm not taking time from other presentations. So I think that we have other people here join us. I'm seeing only Conrad, Luisa, and Jennifer. Well, any questions?
Hi, Carlos. I was just gonna thank you for your presentation. I came in a little bit late, but I wanted to ask you if you can share your PowerPoint here with us in the chat. Thank you for that.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. So yes, it is possible. I'm going to find out the way to do it. So the most important thing of this opportunity is just to create a space just to explore what the collaborative learning model could be for the COVID-19, for the recovery from COVID-19. So and that is like the main idea of this presentation. What do you think about that? Is this something that you would like to be part of? For example, yes, go
Yeah,
ahead.
again, having come in a little later or late, what you said, thinking globally, acting locally, I think that's really the key to collaborating and to infusing that passion and energy on our students to, yes, we are encouraging them to be critical thinkers in a global sense, but the mission and the things that they can truly be a part of is in the local community. So I thought that was really important.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Luisa. Is this so important that we start creating connections between us? So as probably we shared in a previous chat, so our educational models are based on competition, and that competition is transferred to students, no? So we see in the class competition dynamics on what resources we have, or what advantage we have in front of the peers. And thinking in this 2I same perspective, and involving indigenous views of education, so we can probably modify a little bit the educational model and start thinking on changing things here locally, and promoting and helping others to change the other context. So this is so important. Also, you make me think about one criticism that is frequently made for international actions. So why you are doing international perspectives of programs when we have so many problems here that need to be addressed? Well, this is a way to address local problems by inviting others to give us different perspectives and then trying to modify what is missing, what we can see, what is in somehow like a, you probably know this, like a Derrida would call like a normalizing what is not normal, but feeling like it's completely normal, but it's a reality that was not normal before, but it feels like it's normal and we accept that's a normal way. So then international collaborative experiences, that is what it's doing. So then giving us the opportunity to perceive reality from different perspectives. And that is a great value for our students and for our collaborative teachings. So great, wonderful. So just to share also that I am working creating international networks right now. So I work with different initiatives to promote sustainable education and also STEAM education for sustainability and around the world, and also recovery and resilience from COVID-19, and how we should address that resilience into all classes. Doesn't matter that it's a mental health class or it's a well-being class, but all classes should include some perspective of thinking on the students and how the students are facing very hard times. That is probably what our experiences in COVID-19 times. Wonderful. Great. So then definitely I'm going to share my PowerPoint with the chat. I need just to figure out how, and then I will share it. So probably we can access the chat. So this is an invitation also for us to think about what are the needs on how we can collaborate with each other and then produce better courses or experiences. Perhaps Nina, are you located here in Canada or are you outside? Or Luisa and Jennifer? Any thoughts?
Oh, I'm in Florida, in Orlando, in the US, yes.
Oh, wonderful. Luisa, you mentioned that you are from Colombia also.
I am. I didn't get the first part of your presentation, but I was curious as to where you were from as well.
Yeah, well, I'm located in Fredericton University, the University of New Brunswick, but my origins are from Colombia too. So we were great.
In Medellin, spending the summer. I normally teach spring and fall at the University of Central Florida, but my family lives here in Medellin, so I decided to spend this summer, especially because of COVID, allowing me to do some things online, participate in this wonderful type of, workshops and different kind of training virtually. So I thought that was a great opportunity. You just made me think about something else, and I hate to kind of take all the time from the other participants, but our international students are so eager to participate in things that are locally as well. So when they come to our countries, whether it's Canada or the US, that might be a really good option to allow them to be part of our community because they want to engage, they want to be part of their new environment and help people in their local community as they have adopted that new community as part of their international, being an international student at a college or a university. So I think that that's a really great idea to make it part of some sort of projects. I know the one that comes up to my mind is like Habitat for Humanity, like they construct different things, at different locations and stuff, but it's just a really good idea to get them involved.
It is wonderful, Luisa. Yes. So many years ago, we created with this, let's say, collective of universities, the idea of bringing home to other homes. So it's a wonderful perspective of connecting with your own culture. So for example, in the university here, so students were creating like a cultural spaces where they have plenty of cultural signs of information of things that can remind them and share their culture. And it was a wonderful activity to see how they can contribute to the enrichment of the local culture by bringing the international culture. So then this is a huge thing in terms of the idea of assimilation or cultural assimilation. So in a very traditional model, so we think about cultural assimilation for international students will be the thing to have, the objective. But probably that's not the right thing to do. So probably cultural assimilation will be more like a openness of sharing the cultural richness that all students are bringing together in the course. So then by reconnecting with your own culture, you are making very strong links and identifying with yourself, with your culture, with your roots. You are learning a lot from yourself. So that learning is produced and it can also impact other students to do the same. And in that collaborative space, we're creating a wonderful culture. I normally use the idea of the metaphor of the mangrove tree. It's a wonderful metaphor. The mangrove tree is a tree that is living between salty and sweet waters, like a unique plant that can survive the very saltiest of waters. And in the middle, inside the roots or under the roots, those trees are able to protect a very rich and diverse ecosystem of creatures that are not able to survive if they don't have the mangrove roots. So then when I'm talking about this perspective that you're sharing, Luisa, so then I'm thinking, okay, so then probably education and any education system or any course should be like a mangrove root tree, yeah, should be a protective space where instead of assimilation is flourishing diversity. I think it's a wonderful idea to have.
And I think that's what our students want to do. They want to share their culture. They want to share who they are, and the idea is that they bring into our community. It doesn't mean that they have to, like you say, completely be absorbed by their new environment, but really for all of us to be enriched by our students, their experience, their culture. So yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. So then I'm just going to open the invitation for all of us. Just if you want to participate and in this collaborative network. So I'm working with the Smithsonian Research Center also, and with centers in Latin America, Central America, Africa, and Europe, creating awareness of the need of collaborative efforts in teaching at the university level. So we have two networks. So I'm the advisor for the STEAM for Sustainability and Development Network, and also for the COVID-19 resilience and recovery processes. So if you are interested, I'm going to share my PowerPoint here and send me an email. My email will be there, and then we can move forward. And definitely, I would love to connect with all people who would be interested. So any other thoughts, ideas, or?
Hi there, it's Jen.
Hi.
I really appreciated your presentation, and I really love this concept and idea of collaborating. And just recently finished my master's, and my topic was on co-creating online experiences with students. So I think that the answer is in developing reciprocal partnerships with students and not just sort of using them for trying to glean what we can from our students, which sometimes happens, especially in North America. Anyway, I just, we were trying to start a project using Mighty Networks. I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but just kind of setting students up so they can lead activities towards sustainable development goals, and connecting students that way, and just sort of facilitating those options that are out there, and then leaving it to students to run with it, just supporting them in developing their own workshops. That's where my passion is, but I'm at the college level, so I'm not sure if you collaborate with.
Absolutely, yes.
I really appreciated your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. This is a wonderful perspective. So of course, the levels. So I work also in the elementary school. So the education should be a continuum, and and of course we understand the division and segments. But if we consider there's a continuum, which we are going to have like evolutive perspective. So then, of course, teachers from elementary schools, teachers from high schools, teaching from college and universities, it's just we are involved in the same boat. So yes, this is a wonderful. So then, how you are able to change globally by changing locally again. No, it's small projects, small actions, and how you are able to promote and broadcast and share with others those very important actions. So when we plant a tree, so you are modifying the local environment, but also you are helping global climate change. And then that is probably the idea. Wonderful. So we need to do more collaborative and interchanges between all levels of education and also between all countries. That would be wonderful. Great. So the other thing is probably that I'm going to mention is teaching styles and how teaching styles are completely welcome. No? So normally in this type of network is required some kind of unity, you know, some kind of synchronism, like everyone is doing exactly the same. But probably that's not the only way. It could be some like administrative processes would be kind of like a static or very clear out there, but also flexibility, as we were talking in the previous meeting. Flexibility is the key. So then flexibility not only in administration, but also in curriculum, and curriculum will involve everything, but flexibility in, for example, the way you want to teach and develop your courses and establish the relationship with your students. And that's the other level of competition between students and teachers. So this is another topic that we need to start moving away from. So a lot of possibilities. Yes, let's see, the important to define roles in collaboration. Yes, definitely. So when we are collaborating, is something like a collaborative intelligence. So you have possibilities, experience, background that you can share with others, and then you can define the roles, and you can share these roles. And probably the best way to do it is just to have like a contextual view of the roles. What does mean? In one moment we need a person just to assume some kind of leadership role, and the role should be rotative in somehow. In other moment, other person should be the leader. So then is that fantastic, Jennifer, idea is just challenging our notion of power and authority. It's a lot of context here. So then a network, a collaborative network, is not controlled by power. Power is spread equally on the network. And then a difference of hierarchical networks, where there is a boss, where there is a division, where there is a structure. So in collaborative networks, the relationships are flat, completely flat. So this means any member of the network will have leadership roles in any time, depending on the situation. And this is what it makes the network flexible and gaining something like the virus is teaching us today is just being adaptive, evolution, change. So then if we have this flexibility in leadership, so then we can change and the network can change quickly. Yeah.
That's so, how do you, I think those hierarchies are kind of ingrained in us. So how do you overcome that in collaborative? I mean, the goal is to have it flat, but how do you ensure that?
It's something that we are discussing all the time. So first, we probably are entangled. We create a trap, and we live inside that trap of power. And I'm talking about inside the classroom, you know. From the very beginning of the design of the course, if you open the curriculum design for your students and ask, well, what do you want to learn? So then that trap is going to be broken. And then collaboration, start inviting your students and probably later inviting your community. So then when we move outside of being me, the teacher, so we talk about model centered on the students, but the students are the center. Yeah, more or less that perspective, but the student can be the center, but also they can be in the periphery. So then it's not necessary that they are in the center. They can be rotative. So what does mean that anybody can be in the center, because the teacher also will have a lot to say, and then probably one moment the teacher will have to be in the center. So then by changing the roles and not having the curriculum as a document, as a static document, but having the curriculum as a live document, as an action document, what I call this plug-in document, no? I mean, one thing that is true, but it's not a contract. As we can see in many courses. So the program or the course is a contract that is just to be clear and to avoid any confusion. So but what if we change that? So then the course is going to be more like how we know that outside course, where content is not in my area, it's not in my computer, it's not in my experience. Content is out there, and then all of us, students and teachers, need to go there and then find the content out there and create the course and find our alternatives and the pedagogies that are required to assimilate that knowledge and create a new knowledge. So then by making this new options for teaching, only changing who is able to define what are the contents of this course. So that is amazing. Try, for example, in the next course, you present the course, you present the curriculum, you present the program, and then the first class ask, okay, before this, what do you want to learn? And then you are going to be surprised. So probably you are going to respond with your selection and then going to be very close. But also students are going to say, well, I have the option just to ask for what I want to learn. So I'm part of that course. So I have certain power. And this is how we flat in classrooms interactions since the beginning. And of course, about marking, about assignments, it's a lot. It's what we know. This is only the visible things, but we need to change also. Start thinking in ways that we need to change the very fundamental things of education. Make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It's so interesting to me because it's not even almost it's not just the teachers that have these ideas of power. It's students as well, and just introducing the curriculum like that to students is amazing. But I think it might take some convincing for students to let them really feel that they actually do have that say.
Wonderful, Jenny. Yes, yes. And then we need to be very careful on that because expectations are going to be different for a course like that. So in one university, I was proposing this model from the very beginning, and students were I believe, reacting negatively because it was, we are so used to have this spoon feeder process, no? So like I am as a teacher, I am in charge of delivering the course, and students are sitting there and have the role of assimilation of my content that I'm going to share with them. But when you change that dynamic, so there is a lot of uncertainties, and it's a lot of unknowns of things, and this is really panicky. I mean, if we live in a society that is created by limitations of actions and things, when you are totally free, what do you want to do? So you're totally free to do the things. So then what are you going to do with your freedom? And that is one thing that we need to prepare students to do. And this probably the pandemic is teaching us. Pandemic is teaching, okay, now you have a all day in your house, so what do you want to do? So then we were not prepared to take those decisions, and then some students will be very afraid, and it will ask for you to return to the previous model. So where is the teacher? Where is the course? So it's not nothing is teaching this course. What is this course? Because uncertainties, because it's in somehow we need to feel secure in terms of the future, what is going on. But my alternative was just to lower the expectations in terms of marks, because the marks are always grades are something very stressful for students at any level, and saying, okay, don't be focused on marks, so then we can handle that. Focus on what you want to learn, and that thing help a little bit just to lower, the negative, like a first moment of okay, I'm free. I can do whatever I want in this course. So what is this course? But we need to be prepared for that, no? Yes, rotating leadership, Luisa. This is a great thing. So and I believe that all the time we in a course that we deliver, so hearing only one voice, like for example, it's just getting a little bit tiring, no? I don't know. You as a teacher, you probably, we are expected to deliver the course, but it's so rich when we just pass a little bit the responsibility of knowing the own knowledge. And this is based on a simple idea. So learning is an individual action. Nobody can learn from you, even if even the good intentions or bad intentions, you learn by yourself. Of course, supported by a lot of structures and opportunities and experiences and resources and help, but learning is still being an individual action, and probably we are losing that basic idea, no? Probably we're thinking that learning is about learning what the teacher is telling me, but what about myself? So then in my classes, I try just to invite the students to have this reflection about how this series of contents and activities and experiences are going to affect them as a person, and involving them in their own journey of learning. So then it turns out like a self-reflection and individual. All right, I'm not sure if I am still in the time of other presenters, but seems like there is no other people here to present. I don't know. I'm feeling bad. I'm enjoying this conversation so much that thank you for all of you for having this time and availability just to share your ideas. So let me ask, anybody is there just to present in this time forum?
Hello everyone. I was a volunteer for a different group, but as no one was here, I was shifted to this group. So actually, this is the time for Lisa La from the Mount Royal University to share her presentation, but I guess she's not here. So uh, let's let's continue with this. Like, you are amazing. Like, your words are amazing. Like, yeah, I guess you can talk like 1 hour regarding this. So
So
you are
thank you so much, Jaja. So one thing that I noticed that how in my case I would like just to share the opportunity, and sometimes having 15 minutes to share, so it's like you can even say meaningful things. Well, of course we can, but let's do something interesting. So. Um, What do you think if you are invited to collaborate in an international network? In an international, what kind of topics you would like to see? What kind of actions do you would like to do? Imagine that from one moment, so we have actions and connections just with international students in the world. So
oh,
yeah,
to add note to this, like I want just to share my experience.
please go
So
ahead.
yeah, I'm a student of the University of Windsor. So I've joined the University of Windsor in the fall semester, fall 2020. So I have known the difference of studying in different countries. Like I've studied the online education in India, and also I've studied the online education in Canada. So the basic things I have observed is that the basic necessities is that if I classify them as the basic needs of students and the basic needs of instructor. So yeah, the basic needs of a student will always be that student will need to access readings and course materials and the way to submit the assignments and receive feedback on their work. They also will need a way to send the questions to the instructor. They will need to know when and how to respond to them. So they'll be more comfortable if they have all the information with them. And also talking about the basic needs of the instructor, like he'll need to deliver his content in a better term, like communicate with all of the students. Like it's very different kind to experience in different countries. Like back in India, like not many resources are available. So only we used to have the online class on Zoom network, like the Zoom calling. So it's very difficult to understand the concept they are telling to us, the instructor telling to us. So back when coming to Canada, I noticed that the technology is different. Like here, we use Blackboard to like for the teaching purpose. So it's great that so many resources are available to the students in studying here. So back in India, we don't have many resources like to access. We only have the Zoom, and whatever the instructor tells us, that's what we should learn. But coming to Canada, like there are many resources that we as a student can explore and get into them.
Yes, thank you, Jaja. So important just to understand the students' limitations of on technology. Technology is sometimes I think that based on what you were sharing, sometimes I think like we as educators are following and teaching and changing our methods and pedagogies based on what is available in technology. And that thing makes me think about my own practices. So then I am changing my practices just because of the technology that is available. And what will happen if we invert this cycle? Instead of me responding to technology, what if technology responding to us? I know it is going to be a little bit challenging, but what about if we ask technology to do the things that we would like to do? And that was a reflection in one of my last course in the middle of COVID-19 pandemic when students were requiring a lot of support and everyone was just facing the hard things of COVID-19. So of course we used to normalize the things that are not normal. So then, in somehow the teaching process I'm seeing an opportunity to revise. So what is considered normal and what would the normal that we would like to have? And having this conversation with the students, you're going to see, well, I mean, my resources were limited, what you're saying, and we were used to work with that. as much as possible. Remember when before internet, so we have only radio education in rural settings, and the radio education was the advanced technology. So then before that, we didn't have like a distance course was by mail, but physical mail, like letters, like people were sending letters from a teacher. I was teaching in that system. I was sending letters to my students, and my student was sending me homework by mail, and no contact at all, no phone, no nothing. So then, um, are we evolving our teaching practices based on what the technology is telling us to do, or are we evolving, changing our practices and our pedagogies based on what we think that is should be? And that is a very interesting reflection, Jaja. Thank you. Yeah.
Juan, I had another question similar to what we were just talking about when you said what do you want to learn? If we ask the students what do they want to learn, I've come across with some difficulties where I do try to give my students. Oh, sorry, my doggy. I try to give them options at the beginning of the class, and I give them two options. It's not really a control environment because I'm giving them two. Like I try to let them decide, do you guys want to start with this chapter or do you want to start with this other chapter, right? So I'm trying to give them some options as to how they take control of the class as well. It's not just Luisa being, you know, the almighty authority of the course, but for them to make some of these decisions and therefore to see the consequences, to see, okay, we're going to have a test on this particular chapter because we saw it first, right? But what I've seen, especially with international students, if you ask them, what do you want to do? They kind of have this blank faces like, you're supposed to tell me what to do. You're the teacher. I came here because you're supposed to tell me what to do. I don't know if it's more of a, again, from their home countries, how they're educated, the type of education that they have received, where things have been given, right? The information, they've been given all this information and go try to do something with it. And they come to, again, Canada, the US, and we started kind of asking them for critical thinking, right? It's like, what is it that you want to do? How would you solve this problem? So I don't know, how would you approach that and building critical thinking in students, give them options? My dog.
This is wonderful, Luisa. Thank you. So then that's we used to say that for example, we have these online conversations and we turn on our cameras just to see each other, and doesn't matter what. Doesn't matter what. It's completely open. We know that we are in a house and many things can happen. I remember one day I was teaching a course on December and my Christmas tree was falling for one side in front of me, and students were laughing and didn't realize why. So, well, addressing your question, so yes, think about this. When a child is asked just to draw a flower or a tree, for example, and then everyone is just trying to reproduce the standard model of a tree. But one child in that course is painting a wonderful thing that nobody knows what it is. She or he is using different colors and putting different size and different levels, and it doesn't have leaf, doesn't have any structure of the tree visible. It's just a universe of things together. And the teacher was saying, oh, well, 1 second, what are you doing? Just a tree is something like this. And it shows the standard way of making the tree. And the student will just, no other option just to reproduce the standard tree. So then many years after that, so then the same students asked just to create a tree and be creative and create new things. And then what do you think is going to create? So the definitely is a process of education that started from home, that started from the lower levels, and then when we receive students on higher levels, so then we ask them just to overcome the difficulties of many years of training of not thinking. Sorry about that, man. It's just being the non-thinking creatively. So then following pathways that are already designed, and not using problem solving abilities just to view other things and view other possibilities. It's just to be only focused on practicing or applying and developing like this kind of linear thinking. So this is the problem when I'm teaching some kind of course, any kind of course in mental health or education or anything. So then there is a process, should be a process, and it will be wonderful just to have this research or that it will just demonstrate how you can recover the child that is in your spirit, because the child doesn't really care about too much about the norms. No, it's just being having the right to explore and the security that's doing something good and being something that I call like the admiring the things that are discovering, you know, enjoying the thing. It's a natural enjoyment of learning, and we through the educative system, through many negative experiences, like we were talking about microaggressions, like disconnection between cultures, like individualism, competition, like authority, like a discipline, focus on discipline, focus on the curriculum and the needs of that in many ways are outside of the class. They are mainly institutional because of records or whatever other needs, institutional needs that we know that are visible in class. So then the students are now disconnected with what they are and the roots of what they believe or what they think. And then when we ask them to participate, of course, there's a lot of scars are already there. And there's a lot of insecurities and lack of a easy connection with their identity, and it's just difficulties of being proud of who they are. It's a process of empowerment. It's a process of discovering your roots. It's a process of navigating your own possibilities and abilities. You know, so it's a great experience. Well, thank you so much. I would love to continue, but I'm afraid, I don't know, Jaja, what you think. So do you have any other questions? Should we stop the conversation here? Because for me, I feel like I'm very lucky having all of you in this conversation.
Like we have the time till 2:15 actually. So like I'm feeling to listen your words. Like I'm feeling to listen your words more and more.
Great, that's wonderful, because then um, probably the other thing that I would like to share is about the possibility of creating new curriculum perspectives and engaging with something that is the curriculum reconstruction of society. Reconstruction. It's not social constructivism perspective, but it's reconstruction of society. So then, and with this, I'm going to finish. So then, because probably I will let you participate to another activity. So the main idea of this reconstruction is that education has only one mission. Is the mission is just to recreate in this COVID-19 pandemic the broken network of society. And if you think about this idea, so we can see that that thing is true at different levels. So at the individual level, and the community level, you know, social level, national level, and international, global level. So then it's something that we need to start thinking about, how our courses, doesn't matter what topic, it doesn't matter what discipline are you working with, but it should include this reconstruction of the social network, of the social interchanges, of the social supportive network. It doesn't matter if you're teaching math or you're teaching philosophy or you're teaching science and medicine or anything. So and then including this reconstructive perspective will help us to create different courses, different probably disciplines, probably careers, probably efforts, products, and one day we are going to see a different society. So then could be that one proposal. Hello, hello, Francisca. So,
Mm,
all right. So,
maybe it was by mistake, I guess.
okay, please go ahead.
Uh, so I just want to ask you one question.
Yeah, please.
I want you to share the importance of interactive learning in the online education. Like the interactive learning is a very big thing that plays a very major role. I have personally experienced that difference between interactive learning and non-interactive learning. So I just want you to talk some words on the interactive learning in online education.
Wonderful. So, and what one thing that when you mention interaction is comes to me is impossible to stop to interact. So in interaction probably is can be seen as a creating activities and going out there and doing something, yeah. But interaction is a quality of the being, of the human being.
Exactly.
Think about the impossibility to not interact. It's impossible not to interact. Even you are in a space and you are silent and you are quiet and you are not moving, so you are interacting. You are interacting with the environment. You are interacting with many other things with your context, and your only presence is a way of interacting. So then is through these interactions, it's definitely is a way to learn, is a way to understand how we can interact better if that is the idea in education. So then uh, people believe that the good interaction will be the student with books. That's one level. So other people believe that the interaction should be the teacher and student. Okay, great. And students with the students, and students with the teachers and other students or groups and other levels. Great, different levels of interaction. So, but without this interaction with yourself, we are losing something that is the inner way of interaction. It's like when we talk about the concept of happiness and and happiness connected with satisfaction. So then student satisfaction in courses, and we say, are you happy with this course? So then probably I discovered that the happiness would be more a set of actions or things that were happening, is a process of experiencing new things, experiencing yourself in terms of your possibilities and your challenges. So that is what could be interesting for challenge. All right, so interaction is the center, no? The play and the learning of is based on how we can interact with the content and with other people.
That's really great. Like, yep. That's nice that you said. Like, one thing I want to share with you is that, like, I have completed my fall semester without interaction.
Oh,
I scored like 85 percentage. Like, I never attended the classes. I never, to be very frank with you, I didn't attend the online classes. I just went through the asynchronous classes because I was very busy with the other works. I got 85%, but to compare that marks with my knowledge, I got like 10% knowledge from that course. So my knowledge was comparatively very low without the interaction in that course. So comparing that with my next semester, like I have interacted very well in that course. I have scored 80 percentage with 90% knowledge. That's really like I feel very happy. Like even if even my percentage was low, due to that interaction, like the gaining of knowledge helped me get that happiness that I gained some knowledge from that course, irrespective of the percentage. Like you got that difference between the two situations, right? So in my first semester, I got greater percentage with less knowledge, and at the end of the day, I was not happy. And in my second situation, I got more less percentage and more happiness. The interaction played really a major role between these two situations.
Yes, yeah, yes. Thank you for sharing that. So, um, probably we need to start thinking how our courses are providing happiness for our students. So this is a new perspective because normally courses are designed to provide content, yes, abilities, like even if attitudes perhaps, but just to teach students to do something, to provide proficiency in one of the in one area, or if it's a technical or professional, any area. But what about if we create courses based on happiness, on the idea of experience? So
Yeah.
then that's the experiential learning. What it's trying to do, just to create this kind of opportunities for students to go and connect with communities or companies, and to have experience in the job or in the place, contextual experience. That's great. That's fantastic. That's its experiential learning. That's fantastic. But what about if it's focused on happiness? So this is going to open a lot of possibilities and a lot of conversations, no? So then I would like to be part of to take a course that is asking me just to produce happiness, even if it's studying math or calculus or geography or psychology or linguistics. So then how this course is providing me a source of happiness. And I think that we are arriving to consider students as a really as an integral dimension. Doesn't matter what you're doing, and it's just challenging a little bit because we are used to think that mental health and health and well-being should be one matter of one specific course or one area, perhaps with psychologists or sociologists or social workers, but we disconnect that thing from when we are talking about, for example, STEAM abilities, or in science and technology and engineering, and then probably we don't think about that, but they are students, they're human beings, so then probably we are missing that. So I wonder what would be an engineering course based on uh, material resistance and happiness, involving happiness in what you're doing in working with materials and working with building bridges or homes and thinking of happiness. That could be an interesting challenge, and it probably will create different societies.
I'm taking some notes, and I wanted to actually put my camera on because we do this all the time when we're actually teaching and you only hear the person. So it's kind of good to just make that connection. But as you guys are talking, I think one of the classes that you probably enjoyed the most throughout history, when you were little, college, your master's degree, whatever, are the classes where you were able to be creative, that you were an active participant, and that you were able to take part of the decision making. So it wasn't really the ability of the instructor to impart knowledge on you, but to challenge you to be creative. See, that's
Yeah,
great.
that's great. Now we are talking about human beings.
The whole course where I didn't see my students, I only saw names in Zoom throughout the phone. And I was like, hey, listen, put your camera on. But I know for the symposium, they're like, you're gonna have your cameras off and your mics off. So that's how we kept them. But I just thought really, as you guys were talking, is like that participation, that challenge, the teachers and one of the things that I think it was Dr. Nadia at the beginning that she was saying, who are the teachers that really inspired you to be the person that you are today? And to me, it was a social science teacher a very long time ago, but she let us do an open book test. And that to me was like, what? You're gonna let me see the answers? How is this possible? But really, she was just trying to give me the tools to grow as a researcher, right? To understand that it's not going, all the answers are not going to be in the book, that I have to analyze that information and create my own conclusions. So those are the things that I think that will create much more happiness and enjoyment in our students. So it's not just like, I'm giving you all this information, like you mentioned, the curriculums are designed to impart knowledge, right? Content, that this is what I have to give you, but really, what do you have to give, right? What is it that you, from your experience, what can you provide to this bucket of knowledge, right? What's your little drop that you want to add? So
Yeah, this is great, Luisa. Yeah, definitely. So I love your how you are compiling this is all of these ideas, and this is imagine if we create curriculum allowing the students to participate, creating opportunities to express themselves, to transform the local communities, to transform global or be part of global challenges, to generate actions that are creating happiness on themselves immediately. Like immediately, we can talk about immediate rewards or something, but it's just the pleasure of doing things. So then we are going to change completely the panorama of any course. And just to be clear, so what I said is just all kind of subjects. No, doesn't matter the topic. Doesn't matter you're talking about math and advanced math, or you're talking about pedagogies. So the good way to consider education could be consider the human being. And it's like a going back to the personalized model, but in a different way, in a way that is probably perhaps most postmodern and creating what you say, Luis and Jaja, is just the new ethics in a postmodern way. And this is kind of like a many few universities are going to include that, and that would be wonderful to be part of that.
I wanted to ask Raja, what was his major? Because you mentioned some STEM, fields that are much more rigid in terms of content. So I wanted to ask Jaja, what was his major?
Like I'm studying my master's in engineering.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
how important, humanizing those areas, right? Even STEM fields, like you mentioned, Juan, like medicine, they deal with people, yet we remove people from the equation because it's science, right? But no, at the end of a very long road, even with engineering, ultimately people are going to use the things that you create. So interesting, very interesting.
No, this is great because now the work that I'm doing with this Smithsonian network is based on STEAM for sustainable development. It's called like that. So STEAM for sustainable development. So it's completely different, perhaps, of having only STEAM education, because when you think about sustainable development, so then you are forced to think about engineering as a in connection with the planet, and in connection with the planet. So in this UN goals of the Agenda 2030, so then we have the 17 areas, and the majority of them are human. So but how science is involved in that? Well, absolutely, is because we talk about technology and how technology is shaping the way that we are delivering courses. Instead of us moving technology, technology is moving us. What if we invert that? and do it exactly the same with all STEAM sciences. So then instead of we responding to the advances of science, so then what if we start inverting the cycle and making sciences just to respond the needs that we are discovering now? So imagine that probably the one global problem of poverty, huge topic. But imagine only thinking of poverty from STEAM perspectives, and you will have plenty of solutions. There will be a wonderful, rich area. No? We can have solutions from all sciences saying, oh, this is how we can contribute to resolve the problem of poverty. It's an interesting thing. It's putting a little bit social responsibility, no? New ethics, and what is involved in the United Nations Declaration of the Agenda is just responsibility with the planet. Wonderful.
Yeah, we are into this talk. Like it's very soon. Like I'm feeling like it's been only 10 minutes we have talked, but it's been almost 1 hour we have talked together.
Yeah, thank you so
Yeah,
much. I feel very happy. So my email is there.
yeah,
Please,
sure,
Lisa, just send me an email, and
sure.
I will invite you if you are interested. And now that you're here, so then now we know each other.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Nice to know you.
yeah, wonderful. I will invite you just to participate at least, because from Windsor University or from Florida University, are you with me? So then that would be wonderful. So that we have in the Galapagos Island with Ecuador another center there. We are working with them. So if you don't mind, I would love to invite you to be part of this
Sure,
network. So I'm
sure.
going to have the meeting right now.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Like,
Thank you. Have a
we
wonderful.
have a
Okay.
great day.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll stay in touch, one. Thank you.
Yeah,
Definitely.
sure. Thank you.